Alright, what's going on, guys? Very slightly different video today. I'm actually going to be giving my opinion on the new Xbox Series X, I believe it's called. Some weird, stupid, convoluted name they decided to come up with again. So yeah, it got announced last night about 3 AM my time. In terms of my overall opinion of it, not that bothered, to be honest with you. In my most humble opinion, I do believe that everyone should just go out, spend that $500-600 on a gaming PC. It's 2019. You can get something that can play most games now at somewhat decent settings for that price. Back when I started playing PC games, $600, you'd be looking at some low end sort of PC that can barely run, CS:GO. But nah, so the Xbox Series X did get announced. The design does look quite nice. I don't like the PC aspect of it, honestly. It does remind me way too much of an old fractal design sort of case. Like they did Fine R5s and stuff like that from 2012, 2013. I do like the Steam releases that Microsoft have said they're going to be doing. If you don't know, they are essentially creating a bigger ecosystem for the gaming community, so you don't have to have an Xbox anymore to play Xbox games, which in my opinion is absolutely stupid. Why would you go out and buy an Xbox anyway if you can just buy them all on Windows? We have seen this in the past with games such as Forza. I remember I got Forza on my Xbox One, when it came out, Forza Horizon 3 actually, and then I saw it was available on PC, in the Windows or Microsoft Store, whatever it's called, and I kind of kicked myself in the leg because I would much rather play it on PC rather than on a console. But yeah, so it seems like the Xbox One X from a couple of years ago was all about being small, and I'll touch again on the design of the Series X. This one seems to be more about raw power. They care less about the portability, if that's the correct word for that. Yeah, like the kind of portability of the Xbox. And they are making it more into, like say, a gaming PC. Which, again, I don't mind. It can allow for better performance. Possibly 8K 30 FPS. I would love to see 8K 30 FPS. If I could get 8K 30 FPS on the next console, I would 100% want to buy that, because 8K 30 FPS on my current gaming PC, probably not achievable. Probably not achievable for a lot of gaming PCs. If that is the case, I guess that it might be worth it. Microsoft have come out and said that 4K 60 FPS is basically going to be guaranteed. I feel like they didn't even have to make a statement on that, because 4K 60 FPS, it's been achievable for years. I feel like Microsoft and Sony, for that matter, are always going to be a step behind. For sure, they're going to be on par with gaming PCs when they first come out. However, a couple of months down the line, we might be seeing 8K 30 FPS becoming the norm. I have seen a lot of 8K sort of videos. And again, not the norm as in like 1080p is the norm, because 1080p is still the norm for gaming PCs, I'd say. I don't know many people that play on 1440p unless it is, a story-driven sort of game. I played Grand Theft Auto 5 on 1440p, but, you don't really need the quick reactions that you'd need in CS:GO, for example. Not that you'd want to play CS:GO at 1440p anyway, but you get the idea. So the price has not been announced. However, I would like to say that it's probably going to be around the $700 mark, maybe cheaper. Microsoft have come out and said that they might make a smaller version. It's either they've come out and said it or there's just rumours. But a smaller version would be quite nice, there was a smaller Xbox 360, the Slim, the Xbox 360e, that sort of stuff years and years ago. So it's definitely they're definitely capable of doing it. Perhaps, pull back a little bit of the power. If they are going for 8K 30 FPS, maybe, just maybe push that aside and just say, okay, this console can't do 8K 30 FPS. However, 4K 60 FPS guaranteed, like, whatever game you want to play. Or if it is a more graphically intense game, such as, The Witcher or something like that, if they release a new one, I'm not a big fan of that game. Maybe then they'll be like, okay, 4K 30 FPS on the smaller console, 100% guaranteed. However, if you do get the bigger Series X, 4K 60 FPS, maybe 8K 30 FPS, I'm not entirely sure. Rumours are that it's going to be released in around November 2020, and I do believe that these rumours have surfaced, because that is usually when Xbox tends to release consoles. It's just in time for Christmas. Same with every Call of Duty game, essentially. They always release late November, or they used to at least. I'm not entirely sure. I don't keep up with that game anymore. Another thing that an article in The Verge mentioned was that devs might have to make 2 versions of the game, whatever game they're releasing. This is kind of similar to, if you guys remember, in 2013 when Activision released 2 versions of Call of Duty Ghosts. Same with Black Ops 3, actually. I remember Black Ops 3 did get released on Xbox 360. I've looked at some screenshots and wow, that game just looks trash. Like, honestly, it's just not worth buying it. There was no DLC, there was no campaign, there was only zombies and multiplayer, and that was purely because they couldn't fit all the assets into the VRAM of the console. So something like this may happen again. The Xbox One X would still probably be fine. However, the normal Xbox One, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about that. They might have to scale it back a little bit. And it's not like the Xbox One's obsolete. It's still a current gen console. It's just the lower end of the current gen consoles. It's not like when there was an Xbox 360 and a PS3. You only had those 2. That was the current gen console. However, now you've got the current lower end and the current higher end. So in terms of scaling for current lower end consoles, such as the Xbox One and the PS4, I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with that. They might have to start releasing 2 separate versions of the game, which is going to suck. It's just going to create a big divide in the community. Unless there is cross-platform play, Apex Legends, I believe, they are implementing that soon, apparently, so you can play against PC and console players, and a couple of other games I cannot, for some reason, think of right now. I know they definitely do it, and you can actually choose to opt out of those lobbies. So I guess that is kind of a step in the right direction. However, creating 2 different versions of a game, it's just going to create more time. It's probably going to have separate developers, which is going to suck, because the games, they might play similar, but they'll just feel different. And it's kind of hard to explain if you don't really play games, but certain games just feel a certain way they do. Jumping around in Call of Duty 4 feels very different to jumping around in Black Ops 2, and they were obviously they're so many years apart, but still 2 completely different developers. You've got Infinity Ward on one hand and Treyarch on the other. COD 4 you can just bounce around the map, essentially bunny hopping, it feels like. However, Black Ops 2 you jump more than once, and suddenly your character can't move his legs for some reason. Now, in terms of the specs for the resolutions that the console should be pushing, they're actually pretty decent. You've got the AMD Zen 2 chipset, which is a relatively new AMD chipset, based on the Zen architecture, of course. There's going to be a custom GPU, so it's not going to be like an AMD Jaguar GPU or whatever was in the Xbox One a couple of years ago. This one's going to be completely custom. I believe it was something like 16 teraflops of performance, but not everything can be measured in teraflops. You need real world performance. There is going to be 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM, with 13 of that being used for games, and 3 gigabytes of that being used for the OS, which is, if you ask me, completely perfect. And also an NVMe SSD for storage. Now, NVMe is essentially just an SSD, which is already lightning fast compared to a hard drive. It's just essentially faster, basically. So I am happy about that. Whether or not they're going to have a normal solid state drive or a hard drive in there as well, I'm not entirely sure. But an NVMe SSD for your games and whatnot, even your OS to make it, super snappy. But of course, we cannot forget the wonder that is console optimization. Now, if you go back a couple of years and just look at GTA 5 and the Xbox 360, it may not look pretty, but that is a full open world game on a system that was literally released 14 years ago. It was released in 2005. And, the Xbox 360 could still run GTA 5. Yes, it was 720p. Yes, it was 30 FPS. But it could still run it even if it was on lower settings. Now, if you do look at games such as Forza Horizon 3, Forza Horizon 4, those sort of, graphically beautiful sort of games, you know what I mean? Not the most intense, but they still look very nice. It can still be somewhat of a challenge to run, it's not like running Minecraft. Although that game can be somewhat difficult to run at times, especially when you've got RTX turned on. So if you look at those sort of games, you can build a PC of very similar spec for around the same price as an Xbox One or an Xbox One X. However, the console will mainly always outperform the PC. Not all the time, not in every game. However, in Microsoft games and stuff like that, 100%, because, you know, they go deep down into, you know, the machine code. But then you go and do the exact same on a PC, and that optimization is just not there at all. Because, you know, there's so many different types of specification of PC. However, with a console, you've only got one. You've only got one setup, so you can really hammer home optimization. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, it does seem like Microsoft are becoming somewhat like Apple. They are kind of creating an ecosystem. They did announce that they're going to be releasing a lot of games on Steam, which, if you ask me, I just don't see why they're doing that. They came out and actually said that they want to make it so that you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox games anymore. And like I said earlier, just go and buy a bloody gaming PC then if you don't want, you know, it just makes no sense. Why would people go and buy the new Series X? It looks like a PC, it's going to perform like a PC. There's 100% going to be mouse and keyboard support on there, I can already tell you that for certain. 1,000,000% is going to be mouse and keyboard support. It is essentially a gaming PC that has an Xbox logo on the front of it. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. They're even going to be releasing games for the Nintendo Switch. Completely different company. Like, I can kind of see why they're releasing them on Windows. A little bit. However, the Nintendo Switch, man, like, come on, bro. It doesn't really make any sense. I kind of see how it could draw more people in. Perhaps a limited release on the Nintendo Switch, because, again, the power on the Nintendo Switch, you ain't gonna be seeing no 8K 30 FPS on Nintendo Switch, bro. Like, you're barely gonna be able to see fucking 1080p 30 FPS in some games. You know, the drops on that console can be so severe sometimes. For games like Mario Kart, don't get me wrong, perfect console for that. But that's like saying that you're going to get, I don't know, Black Ops 2 to run on the fucking Nintendo Wii. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the old Call of Duty games played on like the Nintendo Wii. It looks like fucking AIDS, honestly. So, you know, sorry for going on a little bit of a rant there, but it's just genuinely retarded, honestly. I don't see the point in it. So yeah, that's my overall opinion of the console. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the terrible gameplay in the background that I recorded last night while I was kind of drunk. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. Tell me if you're going to get the Xbox Series X in the comments, if anybody even watches this video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.